Alright, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. I am Midnight, the host, and I am here with Darkness
Hello.
and Mythic.
Meh.
And we are here with episode 1 of Arcanum Unbounded, which is, we are doing the Emperor's Soul from the prologue through to the end of day 70. So I think it's about 2/3 of the Emperor's Soul we're reading. So we're gonna go straight into it. There's no epigraphs in the Arcanum Unbounded stories. So no epigraphs for us to discuss this time.
No, so I don't get like all the wonderful little tidbits before you guys.
Yeah, you don't. So we start with Gaotona's point of view, as he inspects a fake of the greatest work of art. People behind him whisper about a woman being an abomination. He closely inspects the painting, noting how flawlessly it is recreated. The small inconsistencies were so small that it had taken days for experts to find them. One of Gaotona's fellow arbiters says the woman is one of the best forgers alive, and that she needs to be executed as an example. However, the lead arbiter, Frava, says she is a valuable tool that they need to use. So Gaotona wonders why someone with such skill wouldn't be a true artist of their own, and that he needs to figure it out. Frava continues to say that the woman is a thief, but that they can use her to solve their current issue. The woman they are discussing is named Wan Shailu, and she could change the nature of reality itself. Gaotona wonders why someone like that would even learn to paint. He finally speaks up, stating that he agrees with Frava and to send for the forger. He states that he thinks she will be harder to control than Frava expects, but that it's either to use her or give up control of the Empire. The other three arbiters eventually nod, as it is unusual for Frava and Gaotona to agree. So what did you think about this kind of instant fascination Gaotona had with learning about why Shay would be a forger when she has such great artistic skill?
And seems a little infatuated with her.
I think he's
Who are we talking about?
Gaotona.
I called that motherfucking Gatorade in my head.
Yeah, not same. Honestly,
I cannot pronounce his name for shit.
Gaotona.
I don't think that's how it was said, but I don't know.
That's how I pronounce it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Like we've stated numerous times. But
He reminds me a lot of Sazed.
Oh, is that why you don't like him? Because he reminds you of Sazed?
No, but I like him. I just don't like Sazed.
You don't like Harmony?
Makes sense. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, did you have any thoughts about Gaotona's seemingly interest of Shy in her work?
Like I said, he's just infatuated. That's all. That's all I got out of
I'm
it.
pretty sure he's 40 years older than her or something.
I was supposed to say. I knew you were gonna say the age.
Did you
thing,
say 4 or 40?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can still be infatuated with somebody.
I guess.
You know? Like age is but a number. You know.
Uh,
That's our moral compass that changes how we see that.
I'm infatuated with that ladder we have in the background.
Oh yeah. I feel like you're also infatuated with the fucking confetti that comes down. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so big and colorful.
That's what she said.
Gosh. Anyways, so we skip to day 2, where we finally get to Shy's point of view as she digs her fingernail into the stone of her prison, finding that there is a small vein of limestone. Apparently her prison
Stone
contains...
elementer.
Apparently her prison contains 44 types of stone, and she uses a bent fork to scratch notes into the wooden leg of her bed. To forge something, you need to know its past, so she was almost ready. Shy then glances over at one of the other bed legs and notes that she is only 1 day away from her public execution. 1 day to create a soul stamp in order to escape. However, she has no soul stone, only a piece of wood and a fork to carve into it. Shy notes that the cell is made for one of her kind. It has lots of different veins of rocks to make it hard to forge. All the different types of rocks would come from different quarries and have a unique history. She also thinks that even if she could forge the cell, there would likely be another failsafe to contend with. Shy swears using the word knights. So what do you think about this cell that is used to contain a forger?
I guess this. Well, when I first read it, I was wondering how putting a bunch of stuff that they recognize in general would even stop them. But I guess if it's made of it's just I don't know how that power works exactly. I still don't understand it.
So we get some explanation later, but basically she needs to know the history of an object is what she explains. So she explains
Yeah,
here
so
that
I guess having a multiple materials with different histories in one whole object would make it hard.
Yeah, so she explains that they're likely all from different quarries and everything. So it'd be very hard to pinpoint down how to she'd basically have to make a soul stamp that includes every single history of all 44 rocks in order to even forge the stone.
Yeah, too bad
Yeah,
she's the best, and she's gonna just be able to pop off and do all of that, you know?
pop off, I guess.
Mhm.
So she then begins carving the wooden handle, but thinks that she has spent 6 days trying to figure out a way to escape and had come up with nothing. Suddenly she
6
hears,
whole fucking days. That's crazy.
yeah. Suddenly she hears the dungeon doors open and she hides the fork in the back of her waistband. 4 guards appear at the top of her cell along with a Grand, whose race led the Empire. The man stares at her before waving to the guards to unlock the cell and tells Shy that the arbiters wish to interrogate her. The ladder is then lowered down for her, and she thinks that they would try to make her think something other than an execution is coming so that she wouldn't try to escape. Although she does find it odd that they don't put her in manacles. Shy thinks that she was caught because she was betrayed by the Imperial Fool. He had taken her copy of the Moon Scepter and swapped it for the original before running off. She thinks that her Uncle Juan had taught her that being bested was a rule of life and that someone was always better than you. She abandons her sense of frustration and becomes a person who can deal with whatever new chance is coming her way. So I did want to point out here, because Brandon has confirmed this and people had speculated about it before that, but Brandon has confirmed that the Imperial Fool is Hoyd. So Hoyd is the one who took the Moon Scepter and tricked her, basically. Apparently he used to have an actual chapter where Hoyd speaks to Shy, but he removed it as he felt it took away from the story and wasn't needed.
Okay, so because I have an audiobook and I don't like look at it like this, it's going to be very hard if you're going to tell me that we have to switch like skip chapters or anything like that of this book, because like I have to look for that. I have to like literally skip chapters. And in the very beginning of this book, it actually had that had a comment about that exact thing, that
maybe it
used to
tells
have
you
his
in
own
the
book. Yeah, he used to have his own book, but it, when he had written Elantris, I think is what it was. He is where Hoyd's first appearance was, and then Hoyd got his own little like jump through, like his whole backstory explained. But the book that he had written he said it wasn't very good and didn't get picked up by the publishers or whateper. And
you're talking about his Dragonsteel book, I think. So there's a book on the planet Yolen, which we get little bits of stuff about Yolen throughout Arcanum Unbounded in the solar system summaries, because they compare pretty much gravity and size of planet to Yolen, as Yolen is where they believe humans originally came from.
Interesting.
Yes. And so he had written a book called Dragonsteel, which he eventually wants to rewrite.
Yeah.
And that's why his company and like the convention is called Dragonsteel.
Which, I mean, it was really cool. I liked listening to that part. That was really neat. But I feel like it overshadowed everything else.
Yeah, the only thing you'll actually have to skip, because Edge Dancer's at the very end, so you technically don't have to skip that. We just stop after 6 of us. The only thing you technically have to skip is Alamancer Jack. So that's gonna be the only time you have to try and skip through stuff.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to tell me what the block is, because
yeah, I'll tell you when it. I'll tell.
Skip.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is, and I can even do I can probably look up as well as the time codes for the different stories and stuff in the audiobook if you want. That shouldn't be too hard, but it's just the one story, so hopefully it won't be too difficult for you.
Hopefully not. I was thinking about that before when I was listening and they were talking about Hoyd, and I'm like, I really hope I'm not listening to the wrong like thing. And
yeah, I guess there was a little intro thing.
I'm gonna go through this entire podcast and like she's gonna be talking, and I'm gonna be like, I didn't read any of this.
Yeah, he has a little like preface and acknowledgments thing, which I didn't bother going through. He also at the end of each story has really like a little like his thoughts about the story.
So this is a one-off thing, right? This chick and her forging abilities.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. So that said no. Gotcha.
But anyways, I wanted to bring up the fact that.
I'm sorry, but doesn't he make a note that some of these stories like are things that not necessarily have happened but will happen eventually?
So all of these stories in Arcanum Unbounded are canon.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So they will happen eventually.
So they
already happened.
So basically, like the different stories we're reading, like they may not happen in chronological order of the way we're reading them. I'm reading them more in terms of you'll get the most knowledge for the stories because there's references to other planets sometimes in other books. So Warbreaker had the least amount of references, and also again it was free, so I thought that'd be a good starting place. Mistborn, because it was and Elantris, because they're written so early, have very few references. Stormlight has more references to things, which is why I wanted to read it after Mistborn and Elantris and Warbreaker.
Yet you chose the best book to go first, and now everything is
Most people don't
undervalued,
consider
but-
Warbreaker the best book. That's why.
Warbreaker is my favorite book so far.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it so
My
much.
husband's in Warbreaker.
Yeah, I know, right?
But anyways, getting back to.
But I have
husband
husbands in
died in
every
Warbreaker.
planet, so.
My husband died in Warbreaker, so.
But
But he went down like a boss.
the reason I wanted to bring up the fact that the Imperial Fool is Hoid is I wanted to ask the question of why do you think Hoid wanted this moon scepter? What do you think this moon scepter is?
A scepter that controls the moon.
I mean, they do have one moon for sale. They have a singular moon.
I don't know. Maybe it's what it's made out of.
You think it's made out of something like some sort of like important like metal or material
Moon
of
rock.
some sort?
It's made out of
Maybe.
moon rock.
It's made out of moon rock.
A moon rock?
Forger couldn't forge that. They don't know the history of that thing.
What if?
It was in space.
Wait. So they said that they eventually in these chapters they say they worship the sun or whatever, right?
So the Grands do. So one of the religions in this area is the worship
So-
of the 80 suns.
What if that's like the equivalent of like having a moon side, you know what I mean?
Do you think it's like some sort of religious artifact for a different religion?
I guess I'm trying to go for like, cause Hoyd be going through like interdimensional like fucking.
Hoyd is an
I
enigma.
really wish
right?
I really wish you had listened to, like, you could have heard what I heard about Hoyd, because the way that they talked about him, it was basically like Brandon Sanderson saying, like, I wanted somebody who could basically be in all stories and walks through time and like knows all, you know.
Were we
every-
not supposed to
every
listen to that?
place.
You
I
can
don't
listen to
know.
it if you want to.
Did you listen to it?
I did. I read
okay.
it. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know if, because the way you're talking, I was like, did you hear it? Because like it's literally what he said. He's like, in my opinion, the way I said way back when is he's Brandon Sanderson's self-insert, but in a like less context, I guess.
He's
I don't
kind of
think it's
a
self-insert from
He's
him.
not really a
I
self-insert.
said like. I said
Yeah.
like.
He's a character that's in every story, which is kind of similar to how people do self-inserts, but he's not really the same person as Brandon. Like he's not supposed to have Brandon's personality.
But
Anyway,
on to the book.
so Shai notes that the guards are strikers, which are the people who used to be called the Muladil before their nation was folded into the empire. Strikers are tall, lean, pale, and have dark curly hair. Shai is part of the people known as the Maipon, who have dark straight hair and aren't known to be particularly tall. Shai speaks to the captain of the strikers, stating that she remembers him throwing her over his horse, and that he knows a good horse. The man whispers back that he'll enjoy killing her. They enter the Imperial Wing, and Shai notes the tall marble pillars are inlaid with reliefs. There are also large urns between the pillars, and she expects that each urn will have a soul stamp on the bottom, as they are likely replicas of famous pieces. This is due to the Heritage faction currently being in charge. She thinks that the Grands call her power an abomination, but they use forgery to replicate famous pieces as long as the forgers are carefully controlled. She's then led to a door with gold inlay, and she notes a soul stamp on the bottom inside edge. What do you think about the fact that these Grands hate forgers, but they still use forgers to create all these imitations of works of art?
And hey, you know.
does it not remind you of someone? No, that one dude who was killing all those people, but was still using like elementaries.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys are.
I mean, there were a lot of people that could have been in that category
Yeah.
of darkness. Okay.
Oh yeah, name one.
Okay. Susabron, who wanted all of, or not, well, not Susabron, but the people that were controlling Susabron as like a puppet kind of idea, or his name of him, were in such infatuation with gods, yet they didn't really like the gods.
Did they not?
Not really. They were trying to screw most of them over. The one guy
I think
killed
that
him.
was the other nation, though.
Was it the other nation?
That was
Maybe
the
I'm
Pankal
thinking
who
of-
killed them.
Was it the Pankal? Well, okay. Well, yeah, but I'm saying they were portraying the good. We like these gods, but they really weren't. They really didn't like the gods.
Yeah, well, there was the whole thing about like they trusted Susabron to like have all the breasts, and then they didn't want him to like he couldn't use them because they technically only worshipped Peacegiver, and they were like, we're doing what he wanted, and we don't really care actually about the God Kings, even though we would pretend to worship the God King.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretenders out there.
Midnight.
Wow, darkness.
Oh, I mean, we all know Midnight pretends.
What?
What did I pretend about?
You pretend about everything, darkness.
I mean, you pretend to enjoy this podcast.
Wow.
Get me out of here.
No. So as Shai enters the room, she notes the 5 arbiters, 2 women and 1 man, sitting in chairs, while Frava, the most senior of the arbiters, was standing at a desk with
Frappe.
with Gaotona, who is the eldest and apparently least influential of the arbiters. Shai makes sure not to squint, even though she is without her spectacles, as Frava greets her by mentioning that she has done many crimes. Shai thinks that they
Many
want something
crimes.
from her. Frava lists Shai's crimes as impersonating a noblewoman of rank, breaking into the Imperial Gallery, reforging her soul, and the attempted theft of the Moon Scepter. Shai is excited.
Reforging her soul.
Yeah. Shai is excited to think that they didn't realize that the Moon Scepter was likely already replaced by the Fool with her copy. Frava also has a painting brought over that they apparently found in Shai's room at a nearby inn, which is a copy of the painting Frava has in her office. So what are your thoughts on all of Shai's crimes here?
Girl getting busy.
I thought she was cool.
What do you think about the
Like,
whole
that's what I want
reforging
to
her
be.
soul?
I mean, hey, they made it a crime to recreate yourself, so.
Which, is it even that bad?
Or,
I don't know. They think so.
I mean, it's her soul. Damn.
That's what she said.
So when they asked why she had the painting when she was going for the Moon Scepter, Shai replies that her Uncle Juan had always told her to have a backup plan. Frava claims that she chose to speak with Shai due to wondering about the painting and asks if Shai really thought she'd be let go with her crimes. Shai notes that something is wrong as all the arbiters, although seeming to not be paying attention, are actually listening closely. Shai states that they want something from her, and she is ready to discuss her payment. Frava replies that if they did want something of her, her payment would be her life. However, Shai pretends that she could have forged her way out of the cell, correctly stating the number of stone veins in the cell after being told the wrong number. She also correctly guesses that there was an unforgeable metal called Ralkalust, but she states that it is a thin sheet and that she could forge the stones into a burnable stone called anthracite to melt the metal away. Shai then seats herself in a chair near the desk and lets out a silent prayer to the unknown god. So I did want to note here as well that Ralkalust is aluminum, just so you're aware. The unforgeable metal is aluminum. Why do you think aluminum is unforgeable?
Probably because it's the same thing that stops Alamancers from using their ship.
But it's kind of weird that it's also like a thing there, you know?
Not really. I mean, if aluminum is in both sides, it should nullify powers in general.
No, that's what I mean. But like, there's got to be a reason why it does it in both places.
The
Yes.
worlds are connected.
Well, as we learned, all the gods of these different planets are shards of Alanasium. They're all from the same
Yep.
place, technically.
Is it just aluminum? That's like a fucking god place or some shit. You know, like when you know what, like when Superman comes to Earth or whatever,
Oh,
and then
God.
like suddenly
Superman.
Kryptonite's in Earth too.
I'm pretty sure it was actually, if I remember correctly, way back when, it was a meteor that struck Earth decades later after Superman even like landed on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, so like it just happenstance showed up.
Yeah, it just coincidentally landed on the same fucking planet where somebody
I mean, it's on numerous planets. If
They
I
really should have
remember
just
correctly.
given Superman an EpiPen or something to get rid of his
mean,
kryptonite allergy.
They already gave him. They already gave him the sun. Okay, which makes him a god.
But he's allergic to peanuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, everybody has to have a weakness. Okay, if they didn't have a weakness, there would be no point.
The weakness
To be
of
fair, he does
people
have multiple
who use
weaknesses,
different
but
things is aluminum, apparently.
I don't think Superman has multiple weaknesses.
he does because he literally can't fight magic.
That's not a weakness. That's just, I guess it is a weakness, but it's not really.
What do you mean? That's been a strategic
I was
move
gonna
for
say-
so
yeah,
many of
I was
his
gonna say-
enemies
I was gonna say-
before.
Yeah, but it's not like a weakness that like cripples him like kryptonite.
It can
does.
kill him.
Not necessarily.
It literally can kill him.
So many magicians have tried, none of them have succeeded.
I mean, that's like saying that humans are allergic to guns, which we're not, but it can still kill us.
Yeah.
But it's still a weakness. You can't just fight a gun.
I mean, you can knock it out of someone's hand. Or
But the
break
difference, though, is like if he's within area of kryptonite, he loses power. If he's within the area of magic, he can still fight the magician.
I guess. Why
I like
did
how we-
this turn into like a...
Because we were talking about
it always
aluminum.
does. It always does. Always does. We were talking about aluminum, and then it got down to an allergic reaction thing.
Yeah. Also, what do you guys
Gods
think?
are allergic to aluminum. We got it.
What do you guys think about Shai calling Frava out on wanting something from her instead of letting Frava
Who?
kind of
Oh,
do
I thought you
things?
said frappe. I thought it was frappe.
No, it's Frava. It's like
frappe?
Pretty sure it's frappe.
it's like guava, but it's Frava.
I kind of like the fact that she's so fucking blunt, but also
She's-
like,
she's
but
full
also
of
like,
herself.
she's keeping her shit like
I feel like
buried.
she's super full of herself.
Mm.
Like, it's really annoying.
Wait, who's the main
Especially,
character?
yeah, especially
Mythic
when the
doesn't
other
I
like
fucking
Shy.
love her.
yeah, especially when the other guy's like, "Oh, so you could do this, huh? All right, but what about this thing? What about this? And how about this? Let me just prove everything you said wrong." I'm like, girl,
No, but she's not
fuck
wrong because
away.
she's clearly had other stuff, to back it up.
I mean, not really, but okay.
I know that was the whole point.
Yeah.
So Frava states that she could have Shy executed here and now, but Shy replies that she
Please
won't.
do.
Gaotona speaks up that he had said Shy would be difficult to manipulate, and Shy knows that he seems impressed but also sorrowful. Frava then raises a finger, and a servant comes over with a metal box that holds 5 soul stamps with a notebook. The soul stamps are called essence marks, and they are used to rewrite a person's soul, personality, and history. Frava says that even if Shy had escaped, these soul stamps, which Shy states take years to make each, would have been destroyed. Ravis says that they will give these back to Shy as payment, and Shy agrees. So what are your thoughts on these essence marks that she has? These 5 different stamps that can rewrite her soul.
Kinda cool. Too bad
Wait,
later
so I
they
didn't
put
understand.
a
Did
filler in.
fucking who had those originally?
So they got them from Shy, I think, when they captured her.
Okay.
She probably had them on her person, and they confiscated them when they captured her.
Honestly, they said she already did it once, right?
Yeah, apparently she's reforged her soul at
I
least
don't.
once.
He's probably
I,
done it numerous times, to be honest.
well, I don't know. Well, yeah, that shouldn't be too hard. But as a master forger, no,
As
I was just wondering, like, what she was like originally.
You wonder like what she changed about herself?
Yeah.
yeah, probably ugly as shit, you know.
Oh, wow. I think she would have fixed her eyesight. Jeez.
I don't think does it fix physical attributes?
Yeah,
I mean, it
we
changes
don't
the
know.
whole
Could
table and like
reforge.
vase and everything.
Yeah, but like she was talking about her soul, not her body.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what is a soul
Mhm.
though, Darkness?
Cause they needed to fix that one dude's body first before they could change his soul.
Yeah, they were able to fix his wounds. They have
You must.
flesh forgers, which they call resealers.
Doctors, no,
Not as good. Not as
surgeons.
good. Not as good as the blood people later.
The blood sealer.
I don't like him. Just fucking
He's my
creep.
favorite character.
So we then skip forward a bit in time to Shy meeting Emperor Ashraven of the Yi Sons, 49th ruler of the Rose Empire, who is staring blankly at the wall as Shy pokes him. She is told that assassins had come, killing the Emperor's wife and shooting him in the head with a crossbow. They had resealers, whom Shy calls flesh forgers, fix his wounds. Shy thinks that she hadn't studied flesh forgery much, as making a mistake on an object just makes it look bad, but making a mistake on a person could cause death. Brava states that they have the best resealers in the world. However, one of the surgeons is in the room and states that although they can rebuild the Emperor's brain, they cannot put back his thoughts and memories. So what were your thoughts on the resealers, and also the fact that, again, these grands who claim that forgery is like this horrible thing are using different types of forgery?
Maybe. Well, they do explain. Well, I guess they kind of explain that later. That the only reason they find forgery is like bad is because they use it to like, I guess, steal and shit, and also like the fucking soul stuff.
Yeah, the whole soul stuff is like really considered bad.
But like before that, I was like y'all doing the same fucking shit.
I
Like
know,
y'all
right?
hypocrites,
It's a little bit hypocritical.
just like my family. Chamadon.
Damn. Do you have any thoughts about the resealers, Mythic?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did you have any thoughts about the resealers and like again them using these different types of forgery but not also still like claiming that forgery is bad?
Once again, hypocrites, but
Yeah. They're like forgery's bad. Also, these are not forgers even though they use forgery. We call them
use forgery, but they use
resealers.
forgery for the right reasons,
They're resealers. They're not forgers.
I mean, it's the same thing as like, when people say, or not people, but like, it's illegal to hack into stuff, but like the government still uses hackers to do things, and so like it's just basically like saying, oh well, yeah, it's illegal unless we're doing it.
Yeah, pretty much. Because we're
Which
doing
it
it for
is,
the right
'cause-
reasons.
No. Wait, hacking's illegal.
Well, I mean, it's a lot like, any superhero, like, not superhero, but like anti-hero comic book, right? Like, let's take Batman, for example, right? Anything Batman is doing is technically illegal, but he's doing it for the right reasons, so he's not getting, like, justice on him. But to go out there and assault people and do some of this shit, even for some really stupid, not that bad crimes. Like it's kind of crazy.
Plot twist of the podcast: Midnight is Batman.
If only. Actually, no, I don't think I'd want to be bad.
I don't know
I
if
want
that
his
should be.
money. Can I have his money?
No,
Yeah,
you have his
work
ethnicity
really
instead.
hard. Work really hard.
He didn't work
Devote
really
yourself.
hard. He got it all from his parents. His
But yet,
parents worked
to
really
keep
hard.
to keep it, he has to work very hard.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure Alfred took care of it.
I don't know about that.
He was too busy being a fucking spandex like vigilante.
He does that at night. He does all the rest of the stuff in the day.
No, he sleeps during the day because he's up all night.
No, yeah, that's true. And also, like, I'm sure he was just like, being his little rich boy self during the day.
So Shai asks
Party.
Shai asks who killed the Emperor and notes that they seem uncertain, meaning they can't prove it. She's told that the Glory faction seems to be behind it, and Shai thinks that the Glory faction is the faction most likely to get into power if they need a new Emperor. Raven states that the assassins were killed, so the Glory faction doesn't know that how the assassination attempt went, and they want Shai to forge the Emperor's soul. Gaotona asks if Shai can do it, and she says yes, even though she isn't actually sure if she can. Shai then says she needs documents on his life, journals written by him, and interviews with servants, friends, and family. Shai then also says that she will need a grand male who she can test the stamp on, specifically someone who knows him so well so that they can tell if the personality is right. She thinks, though, that getting a stamp that will hold will be hard enough, let alone getting the personality right. Finally, she asks for Soulstone, insisting that she'll need it even though Frava seems reluctant. Frava then states that Shai has 98 days to complete the Soulstone, and Shai exclaims that she would need at least 2 years. One of the arbiters states that they can only stall for the 100-day isolation period because they will state that the Emperor's in this following his wife's death. I can't speak, goddamn. At that point, the Glory faction will likely demand the Emperor's presence in court. Shai states that she'll need a lot of gold, double what they were thinking. Frava instantly agrees, which makes Shai think that they are planning to kill her once she is done with the soul stamp. That gave her 98 days to find a way to escape. Shai then asked for the records on the Emperor, her things excluding her essence marks, a place to work, and a bath. So what are your first thoughts on Shai's deadline, and whether she would be able to complete the task or not?
I think she would be able to if she was really wanted to. I don't think she's going to want to because, like she said, she's going to die.
It's funny because her and I had the same fucking thought process of like, not only is she supposed to seem like she's doing the work, she's supposed to be like finding an escape route, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started laughing my ass off when that woman
Frava
came in and she was like, "Oh, I want you to like put a failsafe, I guess."
Oh gosh,
yeah.
the back door, and she's like, I wanna control this man.
Yeah. And then she was like, maybe I should do it. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe you should do it,
Well, see, I mean, but she goes down that line too of like thought of like
yeah,
like
she's like, if she's gonna think now that I want to do this, and because of that, she's not gonna let me finish the soul stamp.
Yeah, she's probably got somebody else, waiting for me to do all the work, and then them come in at the very last bit and finish my work.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, then you just put it in a failsafe that stops that. Yeah, but I mean, then you just put it in a failsafe that stops that, right?
Not if they kill her before the stamp goes on the Emperor. Then putting a failsafe into the Emperor does nothing.
But no. I meant like a failsafe in the stamp itself, like that only she can put it in or something, like some other shit, basically making it so that like
what's it called again?
A soul stamp.
Soul stamp.
Can you forge a soul stamp?
I don't know how you would do that. I think that would be counterintuitive because you'd basically.
This woman is.
Because what if you do it loyalty based, like Mythic side?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because that would be awesome. Imagine having a bunch of like things that other people can't use that are just OP.
Only
here comes Darkness's God complex again.
Look, I just want to be known as the most powerful being ever.
Yeah, I'm sure you sound a lot like Rashek, the Lord Ruler. Alendi, all of the other people in that
Those
book.
are peasants compared to me.
Yeah.
So
Ruin.
We move on to day 3. So the next day, Shai is freshly bathed in a small room that smells of mildew in a part of the palace that is likely largely unfrequented. Knock sounds at the door, and Gaotona is let in, holding a box. Shai rushes over, ignoring Captain Zhu, who tells her to stay away from Gaotona, and that he'll enjoy stabbing her eventually, because he's real into killing her. Inside the box were 18...
Real into it.
Yeah. Inside the box were 18 soul stamps, which Shai or soul stones to become soul stamps, which Shai praises as being high quality. It's noted that Shai had changed clothing, having some tights and an undershirt on in case she needs to escape and quickly change clothing. She also has her spectacles back. Shai then thinks about how soulstone is soft like chalk but doesn't chip when carved into. Once the stone is set with flame, it becomes as hard as quartz. Apparently the only thing that is better is crystal, but that is harder to carve. You also need to use ink, preferably from an animal over a plant, to use on the soul stamp. So what are your thoughts on soulstone, and why do you think animal ink works better than plant ink?
Because animals have a stronger soul, not tainted with fucking humanity. I feel like if you use blood as ink, though, it'd probably be better.
Oh god.
Or bone. Bone works really well, too.
Bone and blood instead of soulstone and animal ink. The fucking blood sealers are the Shu-Jareth of the Rose Empire.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite. I love this. I love that person so much.
We don't even know his name yet.
No, but I love them so much.
Him and his fucking bone pets.
Ah. Or the way that the other person was talking about it, like, oh yeah, if you try to escape or whatever, he'll make your bones into pets. And I was like, oh my god, please.
Oh gosh.
Make my bones into your pets.
So Gaotona then notes that Shai has stolen one of the vases from the hallway. Shai thinks that
I'll be with them forever.
Shai thinks that she had grabbed it on her way back from her bath and convinced a guard to let her keep it. She says that she was curious about the skills of their forgers, and Gaotona insists that they are not forgers, but rememberers. Sure,
Yeah.
dude. But Shai says they are the same thing. Shai then breaks off the soul stamp from the vase, making it change back into an ugly thing that Shai thinks maybe was made knowing it would be used as a forgery. She then goes back into etching the soul stamp in her hand, as Gaotona has everyone except Zu leave. Gaotona then calls Shai a puzzle, as he says that she could likely eventually bribe or blackmail the guards into releasing her, and manacles could be forged by her since they need to give her soulstone. Shai knows that Gaotona doesn't know much about forging, as he claims she could turn her manacles to soap, but forgeries have to be likely and believable. However, she could forge the chain into thinking it had an incorrectly forged link in the chain that she could exploit. Shai says he shouldn't worry about her escaping since she could have escaped her previous cell at any time. However, Gaotona seems to know more about anthracite than Shai expected, as he knows how hard it is to make it burn. Gaotona continues to speak on how unlikely it was for Shai to escape, making her uncomfortable to know he had realized she had been lying previously.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the fact that Gaotona didn't speak up previously when she was like going on about that lie about how she could escape?
I thought it was funny because he was like, all I can think of is him thinking to, oh yeah, yeah, you keep talking. I already know that that's not true because this and this and this, and when the time comes, I'll expose your lie to you so you know that I knew.
He's like, oh yeah, you could totally, it's really hard to make burn, and then even if you did, you'd be like sitting in the middle of this like blazing inferno.
Yeah. What would you do then? Oh, would you do this? Would you make it whatever into glass?
I started thinking of popcorn.
Shy corn.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious because like from the moment she started talking, I was like, I don't like this girl.
I like Shy.
I love her though. She's like always having a very secure backup plan, you know?
I like Gaotona though as well.
I like this fucking blood person.
I'm not a big fan of the blood sealer.
Of course you're not, because it's blood and you don't like blood.
I don't like blood.
I love blood.
Of course you do, Douglas. So Shai says Gaotona
just likes his own blood.
Gosh. Shai says that Gaotona thinks like a forger, which is meant to be a compliment, although he doesn't appreciate the comment. Gaotona notes that with Shai's skills, she can make great works of art instead of forgeries, and Shai replies that what she does is art. Gaotona replies that what she does requires a lot of skill but lacks in spirit, which angers her. Gaotona then says that he will personally watch Shai as much as possible since he doesn't trust her with the guards. He also states that she isn't to speak to the guards other than Zu since they don't know about the Emperor's condition, which Shai is fine with since she says that the more people that know of a forgery, the more likely it is to fail. So do you agree with Shai or Gaotona? Is what she does art or is it not art?
Definitely is art.
Yeah, I think it's art.
I think he's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think forgeries in general are art, so.
As a forger myself, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, which type of forger are you?
Yeah, we don't actually talk about the forgery I committed, but.
So next, Gaotona has Zu bring in someone else, a man with pale skin and red eyes, who causes Shai to hiss and call him an abomination. The newcomer states that he will place a rune on the door so that if she tries to leave or tries to alter the rune, his pets will come after her. Shai calls the man a blood sealer, and Gautona replies that he has proven himself an asset, and that sometimes he must use darkness to contain a greater darkness. The blood sealer...
Hey, darkness, sometimes I gotta
You
use
just wanted to say that, huh?
The blood sealer removes a soul stamp made of bone, and Shai notes that his pets will also likely be made from the bones of the dead. The man grabs her arm, and Zoo cuts her...
Necromancer.
Yeah, he's basically a necromancer.
I love him.
The man grabs her arm, and Zoo cuts her so that the blood sealer can use her blood as the ink before placing his stamp on the doorframe. The stamp leaves a glowing red eye stamped in the wood, and Shai feels a sharp pain in her arm. She thinks she would almost rather be executed. Shai then tells herself to be in control and takes a deep breath. She shakes her arm free from Zoo and accepts a handkerchief from Gautona to clean her arm. The blood sealer leaves, and Gautona tells her that if she leaves, her bones will become the blood sealer's next pet, as that was all he asked for in payment. He then says if she does her job well, she will escape that fate. So yeah, what were your thoughts on the blood sealer?
I love the blood sealer.
What were your thoughts, Darkness?
Definitely bloody.
Bleed me, daddy.
No, don't say that.
And then we get a short little chapter for day 5, where Shai begins going through accounts of the Emperor's life, and she feels rushed as she goes through biography after biography. She didn't think her task was possible, but she needed to make a good show of it anyway. The blood sealer came each morning to renew the stamp, using a bit of Shai's blood each time. Each day, Gautona watches her work, and she thinks that in order to escape, she will need to manipulate him in some way. So do you think Shai's going to be able to manipulate Gautona into helping her escape, or, like,
yes,
giving away something?
I feel like that, or she should manipulate her own blood somehow to make it so that the seal doesn't work. But
what do you think, Darkness?
That what Mythic said made me think, like, can you even, like, forge a forgery? Can you mess with someone else's work?
Can you forgery a forge? Yeah.
Can you forgery a forge?
I mean, you can, though. I mean, plenty of people have, forged
You mean
something.
forge a forgery?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if, like, they forge a painting and then another person comes along not realizing that
Maybe
it's a
it's
forgery.
intent-based. So, like, if you don't know it's a forgery and you try to forge it, then you're forging that forgery.
Day 12. Shai pushes a soul stamp into the table she is working at, so that the table goes from a splinter-prone dull thing to a well-maintained table with silver inlays. Zoo looks uncomfortable, and Gautona quickly comes over and says that Shai should be focused on her work, not forging her table. She tells Gautona that carving helps her think, and changing the table was simple. She explains that all she had to do was change the table's path so that it was maintained instead of left to fall into disrepair, although she does admit that she added the silver inlays and that they are not a copy of anything, just something she made herself. Gautona looks troubled, and Shai thinks that he is thinking that she is wasting her talents. So what are your thoughts on Shai fixing up her table?
I feel like it's...
Honestly, I feel like I would have taken the same route as her.
I feel like it's going to be a ploy for somebody somehow.
She remodeled the whole fucking room at some point, but...
Yeah, she eventually remodels, like, basically the whole room. I mean, I would too. I don't want to sit for, like, fucking 98 days in this crappy, splinter-prone room. Like, the fucking...
Why not?
Window that's broken and, like...
I'm sure you're used to it, grandma lady.
I'm not. Gautona states that he doesn't understand how changing the table is less difficult than changing a person's soul. Shai thinks that he wants to know more about forging so that he can easily tell what she is doing to try to escape. Shai then begins to talk about forgery, asking Gautona why she couldn't just forge a section of her stone cell instead of needing to know about the whole stone cell. Gautona replies that he doesn't know. Shai then explains that everything exists in 3 realms: the physical, cognitive, and spiritual. The physical realm is what you can touch.
Sounds a lot like something else.
The cognitive realm is how an object is viewed and how it views itself. And the spiritual realm is where the object's soul is, as well as how it's connected to the things and people around it. Gautona calls this pagan beliefs, and Shai sarcastically replies that he worships the sun. In fact, they claim that there are 80 suns, as a different one rises each day, although they all look the exact same. Shai then says if he wants to understand forgery, the realms are important. So we've heard mentions of the 3 realms before, both in the Mistborn series as well as briefly in the Cell summary that we got. So what are your thoughts on these 3 realms? There's a little more information here about them.
We know that for being essentially a full god, you need all 3. So.
And I believe that we learned during the Cell solar system summary that the power of the door is locked in the cognitive realm currently after the shards were splintered.
Repeat the last part.
So the shards, Dominion and Devotion, which are the shards for Cell. They were splintered, and their powers got locked away in the cognitive realm, where they kind of just like are there.
It's that fucking cloud I saw, huh?
No, that's the Warbreaker system that has the
Is
cloud.
it?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Is it not called the same thing though?
No, it's Cell is the Cellish system is where
No, I mean like the cloud.
Oh, the cloud is called a cognitive anomaly. So it's an anomaly within the cognitive realm. Anyways, Mythic, do you have any thoughts about the three realms?
Once again, sounds real familiar to something else.
Also, what are your guys' thoughts on the religion of the 80 suns?
That's a lot of suns for some reason.
I find that religion to be one of the most ridiculous ones. Yes,
80 suns, guys.
There's 80 suns, a different one rising each day. They kind of rotate through somehow, somewhere.
How many days in a year do you have, guys? You're telling me that like some of these suns don't actually get as much as the others, like?
I wonder how their calendar works.
Right? Yeah. Midnight. We need a calendar, please.
You need a calendar? Is there?
I want a calendar of this.
Yes, please. A listing of their months, their years, you know, because clearly they have them.
The amount of days that are in each, month.
I don't think we have a calendar.
According to their religion specifically.
I don't know if we have a.
Well, that's just. I'll have to go look it up.
I want it written by Gatorade too.
By Gatorade.
You're supposed to have all of this ready.
I know.
There's an so not in their world or not in their country, but there is apparently in Arelon and TO there's an Aeonic calendar which has at least 6 months and at least 6 days in a week.
6 days in a week.
At least. There's at least 6 months and at least 6 days in a week because apparently at some point you get told what the 6th month is called and what the 6th day of the week is called.
But you never get.
You don't get the full calendar. No. Also, that's specifically for Arelon. I don't know how the Rose Empire would, like...
It's all connected, so...
We need more details.
Yeah, no, right? God, can you just be better at researching this?
So Shai then continues to explain that the longer something is combined into one, and the longer it is seen as one thing, the stronger its sense of identity becomes. You need to thus forge something as a whole because it wants to be seen as a whole. Shai continues that everything has a soul, each object sees itself as something, and connection and intent are important. She then asks Gautona about why people claimed the Emperor's favorite color was green. Shai says that she thinks his favorite color was green because his dead brother was fond of the color, and because the provincial flag of the area where he was born has a lot of green. Gautona seems troubled that she needs to know something so small. Shai exclaims knights and says that she needs to know 1,000 other small details, and that she will likely get some wrong. She just needs to get enough right that his personality is close enough and that the stamp will take. So what are your thoughts on all this like very specific detail that goes into forging someone's soul?
What planet is this on?
This planet is on Cell.
Which one?
Which is
where? Yeah, where's
Cell?
Cell is the second planet from the sun.
Okay, but is this the same universe as?
It's the same. It's the same planet as Elantris. It's just a different area.
Yeah. Okay. So it's stone elemency. Got it.
It's not Mistborn. It's Elantris.
I don't think it's
stone elements.
It's not elements in general, or is stone based.
It's stone elements.
So basically, how the solar system works, which I was going to bring it slightly again later, but it talks about it in the solar system thing, is a lot of the magic systems on Cell are based on geography. So it comes up later, but like they have to put like a finishing mark on the soul stamps, and it's in the like it's like the outline of the Maipon country. Just like how in Elantris, like
it was
everything's based on the landscape around Elantris.
Yeah. And when something gets messed up in the landscape, you have to make sure you put that in there for the thing.
Yeah, so hopefully they don't have a big earthquake. Otherwise, the Emperor, if he gets his soul back, his soul just breaks. The soul stamp's no longer correct.
The two like gods or whatever that were on this planet or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I'm asking, what is it?
Oh, they're.
I know one is Dominion.
Devotion and Dominion.
They
one's devoted and one's Dominion.
Assuming this is like a Dominion thing.
So it does also explain that their powers are combined into one. So it's like instead of having like you know how Mistborn has 3 separate ones, they basically just have the one power called the Door, which is basically like their Feruchemy, the combined power. Because they got shattered and all mixed together. All of the magic system on this planet is the same. It's just all very region specific, and it's basically accessed in different ways based on the region.
Is this the same universe is the little light, glowing light things?
Yes,
Is that what
it's the same
Elantris
as the
was?
light
Yeah. Okay.
bulbs.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I can't wait to see one of them things.
I think those are like, no, they're not, huh?
No, they're from other places too.
Yeah, I was about to say. I
They're
was like, are they
from
not like?
Erelon, and then the Skays are from, I don't remember the name of the country, but the place where Shudoreth is from, where they draw the aeons on their bones to change their bodies.
They're blood allomancers.
I was
Everyone's an allomancer
I was
now.
thinking like, because I was reading it and I saw a word that sounded very familiar, and it's funny because I think I said that same fucking word in the first book of Mistborn. I was like, that word sounds so familiar to me,
What
and I couldn't
word?
figure out from where.
What word?
I don't remember. It's in this fucking
It's in
story though.
Spanish? Is it in Spanish?
Spanish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
Is
it
it in
starts with an
Spanglish?
S.
Is it Sfordish? That's the name of one of the
Yeah,
countries.
that.
That's not from Mistborn, that's from one of the countries. That's where the dancing guy is from.
We're narrowing
I
it
know, but
down,
I
Art.
think that's the word that I was saying that sounded familiar over there. That's the one that I was confusing it with.
So Shai then
Yes.
moves on, asking what they are doing to keep up pretenses that the Emperor is still alive. Gautona replies that they are bringing him 3 meals a day, with the dishes being returned after the food is eaten, although they have to feed the Emperor just broth. Shai asks about the man's chamber pot, and Gautona replies that they need to keep him in a cloth diaper. Shai is upset that they don't have someone changing a chamber pot, as that will cause the maids to gossip. She then goes on to ask for more security of the Emperor, as if his secret is found out, her job here is over, and she'll end up back in the cell.
Yeah, I feel like all of this is just a manipulation tactic in some way, shape, or form. But
Day 17. From the cracks in her
day
window.
70? Yeah.
17. From the cracks in her window, Shai can hear and smell a celebration going on below. Apparently, the Heritage Foundation continues to find old celebrations to bring back in hopes of swaying people towards them. Shai then turns back to the Emperor's journal, noting down how Gautona had apparently been the one to convince the Emperor to become the Emperor. She finds the journal fascinating as written by the Emperor, but also seems to have been read over by him numerous times. Do you have any thoughts about the Heritage faction bringing back a bunch of random celebrations from the past just to try and get people to want to keep them in charge?
Sounds like a lot of
Sounds like a real life shit.
yeah.
Very desperate.
Yeah. We'll give you what you want. Well, we'll give you things that we think you want, but you don't really want them. We just think you do.
It's more like we'll give you things temporarily so that you like us. You know?
It's like, look, we threw
When
this
we
really cool
actually
party. Just ignore the fact that we're increasing taxes and doing all
It's
sorts of
kind
shit.
It's kind of like when companies do that shit during Pride Month.
Oh God, I know, right?
They're like,
And
oh,
then
look,
they're
party,
like, oh yeah,
party.
we fucking hate those people right after.
Hey guys, look, we changed our logo so it's rainbow colors.
Spidey!
We really believe in pride. And then, the moment the month's over, no, we
colors
don't
and
care
British.
enough about this.
Yeah.
That's just why I don't buy Pride Month merch. It's fucking stupid.
Frau then enters Shai's room, stating that she had been told that Shai is making unremarkable progress. Shai replies that she is actually working quickly and that she will be ready to begin testing on a test subject soon, but she still has not been told if there has been one selected yet. Frau replies that she will have her test subject. Frau then notices the soul stamp on Shai's table and asks why she would have it out like this and not hidden on the bottom. Shai replies that she is proud of her work and allows any other forgers to see it and take note of what she has done. Rava says that Shai should not be proud and says that she thought forgery was about trying to hide that it was a forgery. Shai replies that there will always be a soul stamp and that if you're trying to forge something to be mistaken as an original, if you aren't trying to forge something that's to be mistaken as an original, why not show off the soul stamp? She then thinks about how in her village, apprentices forgers are shown how to do basic forgeries before they are allowed to do forgeries with soul stamps. So what do you think about Shai kind of talking about how forgers like to be able to see what people have done with the objects that they've forged?
Assuming the stamp's like a language, right?
Yeah, so you can kind of make out what they've done based on how it's etched. The start of every chapter, Mythic wouldn't be able to see them, but at the start of every chapter, there's
the symbol?
a picture of a soul stamp.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. You gotta send me every symbol now. So
I think they're all the exact same.
Oh, never mind then.
I think it's the same one each time.
All right, I just want to see the symbol then.
As far as I can tell, I can grab it for you.
Oh, okay.
That is a soul stamp.
Weird.
So Frava then has Zu leave the room, which he is reluctant to comply with, but he does leave. Shai briefly notes the Bloodsealer stamp as the door closes, thinking she had been making notes of when he arrives each day, and that when he was a bit later, it would sometimes start to dim. Shai says that Zhu is worried she'll do something to Frava, and Frava replies that Zhu is simple-minded, that he'll be useful to kill people. Frava also states that Shai won't kill her because she's curious as to why Frava sent away the guards. Shai, however, thinks that she already knows why Frava would come visit her when the other arbiters are busy. Frava then asks Shai about making the Emperor more open to listening to voices of wisdom. Shai replies that she thought they wanted the Emperor to be as close to how he was previously as possible. Frava says of course she wants him to be authentic, but it would also be good if he listened to reason from the right people. Shai is shocked that Frava would just come out and say it like that, but she responds calmly that it would be possible, but she would need a suitable reward. Frava replies that she would get one and suggests having Shai run the smuggling trade that she has been keeping an eye on. Shai replies that it's a mistake to think that a forger and smuggler are the same thing. However, she replies it sounds pleasant, and Frava then says that she'll leave Shai to consider it. So, do you agree with Shai that Frava is just bribing her to get her to do what she wants when she's actually just gonna, kill her eventually?
Wait, say that one more time?
So, Shai mentions how, she thinks Frava is doing all this, bribing of her, but she's just gonna kill her, so all the bribes are kind of pointless.
Pointless, yeah.
Yeah, so you agree with that?
Yes. I mean, I just watched a movie last night called 12 Below or something, 12 Foot Below. I don't remember exactly what it's called exactly. But these two girls get stuck under a pool liner or whatever, and this woman who I guess is a convicted felon or whatever gets fired from her job before that, and then so she's in there cleaning for her last day. She hears these girls screaming, and she just starts asking them for shit. She finds their purses, and then she's like, she finds their purses, and she's like, I need your passcode to your phone. And they just the one girl just gives it to her. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, well, I really need money. What's the passcode to your card? And it takes them a little longer to get it. She goes and turns off the heating in the pool, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'll do that for you. Just promise you'll let us out. Yeah, right.
Damn.
The amount of, and then the last one is the fact that she has a ring, which is the reason they went down there anyways and got stuck. It got stuck in the grate, and then they went and dove down into the water, and then they closed up the pool while they were underwater. And they get the ring back eventually, but this woman is like, "Oh, I really want that ring." And I'm like, "She lied to you so many times. Why would you do that? Why would you give it to her? She's not gonna let your ass out." It's kind of that same idea. Yeah. I just don't understand. I kind of understand. For her specifically, because she could probably do something to get one up on them in these days before her deadline, but those two girls just couldn't do anything. They were stuck. I don't know why. I would just been like, no, I'm not giving you shit. Come down here and get it.
What do you think about the whole Frava bribes darkness?
It was annoying the fuck out of me.
That she's like, oh yeah, I'll totally give you all these things.
Yeah, no.
And she was like, yeah, fuck no, you won't.
Especially when she was like, are you sure you want to leave?
So Shai then sinks into her chair, thinking about Frava is for sure planning to kill her once the job is over. However, she also thinks that Frava won't trust her forgery now that the back door has been suggested. It was likely that Frava had another forger standing by that would look over Shai's work once she was done, or even finish off her work when she gets close. She was no longer sure she'd be able to use the full 100 days to plan her escape, as her execution could come at any time. So do you think that Shai's going to get the full 100 days, or do you think she's going to have her work kind of taken away from her before then?
I think she's going to get more than 100 days.
Well, we could just, look at
look how many days it's been. Yeah, Look at the chat. I mean, I can't, but you good. Yeah, good.
I mean, you could look at how many, the chapter titles, but also,
this
is a theorizing thing.
You see, the last one says day 101, but...
Sure it does.
That doesn't mean it's not,
Maybe it changes protagonist.
That doesn't mean that it's not, just the day after of, when she was able to do it.
She leaves, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, not necessarily leaves. I'd say around her execution time, but...
She gets away,
Sure.
She forges a new soul. And nobody knows who it is.
She forges a new body, actually. Oh, no, a body. Imagine though.
Wait, is she a skin forger now?
Yeah, she said she didn't study that. She doesn't know how to do a lot.
But doesn't mean she can't. Vin didn't study how to be a Mistborn.
She kind of did, but subconsciously. But
she also kind of studied under Kelsier. The other.
Kelsier wasn't like, oh, here, have some Durlumin.
No, but he was like, here, this is how you push, this is how you pull, this is how you do this, this is how you do that.
Exactly. So they taught her the basics of, forging. So now she got to teach herself how to do the things.
And she said she didn't, so.
But she will. Like Vin.
She's gonna practice in the cell, yeah.
Yeah, what if she just slashes her arm and she's like,
Gosh.
it's suddenly magically better.
Oh my god. What if she's a bloodmancer all of a sudden?
Oh god, blood sealer.
Nope, bloodmancer.
Okay.
Yeah, the blood element.
There's got to be a way better fucking word than that.
What, blood sealer?
Bloodmancy.
Oh, bloodmancer?
Blood
No,
sealer.
fuck yeah, that's a great.
No,
fucking name.
it's
Great name. Blood elemancy. Bloodmancer.
You mean a hemalurgist?
no.
Nope.
I guess that. Yeah, I guess that would sound better.
So day 30. Gautama comments on Shai having forged the window into a stained glass window. She thinks that her attempts to forge the window had been failing until she found a small piece of colored glass wedged into the frame. It used to be a beautiful stained glass window like the rest of the palace, but someone had replaced it with regular glass when it broke at some point. The window had still considered itself beautiful and had quickly taken the stamp when it had allowed it to become a stained glass window again. So what do you think about the window wanting to become beautiful again? Do you think that's how it works, or do you think
Yes.
you think the objects have a will and a soul?
Has a soul. Yep. Yep. Every object has a soul.
What do you think,
The
Darkness?
breath of all things.
Darkness?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think all objects have a soul? Do you think the window wanted to become beautiful again?
Wow. So much information, Darkness.
Things are happening, okay?
Yeah, you can hear it slightly in the background too.
Okay, so I don't know, I feel like it's more like of the perspective of the person who has background information rather than the object itself.
I know Squashy doesn't really listen to these podcasts, right now, but he might listen to this eventually. So it's a lot like what in One Piece known as the voice of all things. Everything has a voice, just like in this world, everything has a soul.
No, this part kind of reminds me of like alchemy shit.
Okay,
Yeah,
One Piece to Full
it
Metal
did actually
Alchemist.
kind of give me the same idea when they were originally talking about it, and they were like, forgers can turn certain things into other things, and I was like, is this just alchemy?
I mean, she kind of goes into, I think, at one point where she's like, it's easy to turn things into. Is that this chapter or is that next chapter?
Lead into gold?
Yeah. They go over that in these chapters?
Thought that was like originally. I thought that was like the beginning.
My brain is.
Thought that was in the beginning because I remember it being in the beginning because that's all I could think about was that this is like alchemy.
But yeah, so Shai states that she was promised a test subject today, which Gautona replies that one is here. Shai fires the two sides of the soul stamp, the finishing mark on the opposite side looking like her homeland Maipon. She then asks where the test subject is, and Gautona reveals that he will be the test subject. He states that
I said, oh.
Gautona states that they couldn't allow someone else to go through with this blasphemy, so they offered up one of their own. However, Shai thinks that Fraba and the others would have had no concerns about having someone else do this, so Gautona himself must have insisted on it. And I kind of brought this up earlier, but I just want to note again that the whole how in Cell the different types of magics are based on the region. So she's like, oh, it's kind of funny how it kind of looks like my pawn. No, it definitely does look like my pawn. That is 100% like what it's supposed to look like. Just like how Elantris, it looks like Erelon, because that is how magic works. Even though for some reason people are doing the magic and not realizing that, they're like, oh yeah, this kind of looks.
You know what?
It's
you know what's crazy?
Mm.
This reminds me of that one religion says a sign about the map makers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like imagine.
So Shai feels the need to put Gautona at ease as she knows that the stamps are harmless, but she doubts that a Grand would believe it. She then tells him that the stamps won't take for more than a couple minutes and that they will leave him unharmed. She also explains how people grow and learn unlike objects, and thus the Emperor will need to be stamped every day, but the stamps will allow for growth and change. She also explains that these stamps are just a small part of his soul. They are not the final stamps that she will use. If they last more than a minute on Gautona, they should be fairly close to what is needed for the Emperor. Shai continues to explain that she will take the many simple stamps and create a more intricate one for the final eventually. She also wants Gautona and the others to make rumors about an injury to the Emperor to explain any discrepancies that may unfortunately come up, as this is extremely difficult. She will not know every private conversation the Emperor has had, so he will have large gaps in his memory that he should be able to mostly cover with faking, but the injury will help account for his memory loss. So what do you think about the fact that no matter how hard Shai works, there will be gaps in the Emperor's memory?
And no forgery is 100%.
It makes sense, yeah. Especially since, well, she's not him, so she's not going to know everything about him.
Yeah, and she can't test it on him. She can't be like,
I
line
mean,
us. What did you do on this specific day of this specific year?
I wonder how that would. You'd think that could be like a form of immortality,
yes.
because
Just reforge your soul when you get too old. Yeah.
yeah, can you just do it to a new body? Like,
Just do it to your children so they're close enough and familiar enough that it
Oh
works.
my god.
oh,
Don't even.
midnight.
Like, who thinks of this stuff? Oh my god.
You just
It
keep
is
becoming your
pure
own
evil.
children.
You're pure evil.
I like it.
I would do it.
To a child? You would do it? Oh my god.
So
Wait
Shai...
till you have children. I bet you won't say it then.
You never know.
Nah, she's like, I'm definitely collecting. She first
I'm
thing she does is
collecting
get the
children.
stamp.
I'm collecting children to put my soul into.
Shai then pushes the stamp against Gaotona's arm, feeling resistance for a moment like the man's arm is stone before the stamp sinks in slightly. She twists the stamp and then pulls up, leaving the red mark behind. She then takes out her pocket watch and asks Gaotona to answer her questions on instinct. She asks about his favorite color and his brother, even insulting his brother, which causes Gaotona to shout angrily. The seal then fades, and Gaotona seems confused, as Shai notes that it was 1 minute and 5 seconds. She also notes that he acted...
Said, hey, it worked.
She also notes that he acted a bit too angrily about his brother, as the Emperor often hid his feelings of inadequacy about his brother potentially one day being a better Emperor if he hadn't died. Shai also explains that any residual memories will fade within an hour or so. Gaotona then says that Shai knows people well, and says she had such potential, which annoys Shai as she loves forgery and it is who she is. She then briefly thinks about one of her essence marks, one that she had never used but was her most precious. Shai then suggests trying another stamp, but Gaotona asks why the stamp even worked on him. Shai explains that it's because of familiarity. As Gaotona spent a lot of time around the Emperor, his soul knows him, and the memories of the Emperor's soul are thus something familiar to it. Gaotona finds it mystical, but Shai states that what isn't is not a window, for example, takes on meaning in the spiritual realm. She then says to accept the stamp should take for about a minute and then fade, as Gaotona is not the Emperor. So what do you think about these stamps only being able to work on someone familiar with the Emperor? Like, you couldn't just use anyone to test the stamps on.
Well, it makes sense, because I doubt anyone who doesn't know the person would see a difference.
Well, even if they didn't see a difference, she's saying, like, the stamp wouldn't even, like, last that long on them if they aren't familiar. Like, it would just, like, instantly puff away like the one that doesn't work soon does.
Maybe it's their soul, like, acclimating to another nearby soul? You know how when you're, like, with someone new and then you slowly get to know their presence?
And then you kind of imitate some of their mannerisms, yeah.
Essentially,
I see Darkness do that with Liz all the time.
Yes.
I'm wondering. I don't see Midnight and Jesus interact enough, so I can't really.
Oh, we have way too many similarities. Well, like,
yeah,
we can like easily like know what the other person
easily get
wants,
stamped.
and like,
yeah, you get stamped.
I could easily get stamped. As she readies the next stamp, she says that ideally she should be testing these on the Emperor, but he can't answer her questions afterwards about what is and is not correct. However, this next stamp puffs away almost immediately, causing Shai to curse and say that she had done that one very wrong. The stamp was supposed to be about why he had taken on the throne, and Gaotona replies that he can give her the answer. He states that the Emperor wanted to change things in the Empire, that he was a humble man deep down. Shai thinks that Gaotona was a genuine person and had given those looks of disappointment to the Emperor to make him want to be a better person. Gaotona then asks what Shai is thinking, and she replies that he is likely nagging the Emperor like he nags her. Gaotona replies that he probably did, as the Emperor could have been better than what he was, just like Shai could be a marvelous artist. Shai replies that she is a marvelous artist, a real artist. Gaotona then brings up the painting and how it was masterfully painted, but had a few obvious mistakes. He then he then thinks about how the painting they think is the original is actually the fake, and the real one she had painted over to have mistakes. Shai, however, replies that they are both fakes. Just one is the obvious fake. Gaotona is surprised by Shai's plan to have the fake as a backup in case she is caught, and to even get a potentially lesser sentence. However, Shai brings up how she was betrayed by the fool. Gaotona then asks where the real painting is, and Shai admits that she burned it. It'd be too difficult to get out, and she had only swapped it to test security. Gaotona says that is horrible, as it was an original Shuzen. Shai replies that there was no harm done, as people will look at her fake as if it is the original. Gaotona gets angry, saying she only did this to elevate herself, and then leaves for the day. Shai thinks that there is more reason behind it, but she had burned the painting, so she doesn't say more. So what do you think could be like further reasons to why Shai burned this painting?
It was ugly and she didn't like it.
I don't think she burnt it.
Well, I mean, she admits that she did burn it.
No,
She
no,
burned
she's
forgery.
lying.
She burned the forgery.
She did burn it.
Were you there?
She literally
Yes,
says in
yes,
her
she was.
mind to herself that she burned it. Why would she lie to
Oh,
herself?
she.
Because she's
Do you know what
lying
she
to
did?
herself.
She changed. Yeah, she changed her soul, so she believed that she burnt it, but
Yeah,
she's actually collecting all of these things,
I see.
in a vault somewhere.
I see.
yeah. And then there'll be a stamp somewhere that she's gonna find that'll like give her back all her memories.
Well, I mean, if it was anywhere, it'd be with her essence marks.
Nah, it's probably hidden somewhere.
I see. Day 42. Shai thinks about her first forgery teacher, Tao. He had taught her that each person was a puzzle. A forger wasn't a simple scammer, but an artist who painted with human perception. A forger had to create something so real that the witnesses never doubted it. Tao had taught her to respect the people she lies to, as you will begin to understand people if you steal from them long enough. Shai was crafting a true history of Ashravan's life, something truer than what the scribes would write to glorify his life. He had been idealistic, as Gautona had said. At first, Ashravan had wanted to change the little tyrannies in their empire. She thinks that she could make the emperor only good at courtly functions, but not hold up to the people closest to him. The arbiters could have him in the meetings and then whisk him away afterwards, stating he was growing sickly. However, Shai didn't want to do that. She wanted to make Ashravan live, or at least she wanted to try. So what do you think about Shai wanting to get this correct and not just make some sort of like two-dimensional person who only appears in court?
Perfectionist.
What do you think, Darkness?
Repeat the question.
Why do you think Shai wants to get this correct and not just create this two-dimensional person who would only be good in the court?
She wants to know if she can do it.
Do you think it's for the challenge? Mythic says it's just because she's a perfectionist.
I would assume so.
So Shai leans back in her bed that she had forged to make more comfortable. Her guards were playing cards at her table, and she wonders why she cares so much about completing this task when she knows they will kill her before she can see it work. However, the thought of one of her forgeries sitting on the rose throne was enticing, although she tries to tell herself not to be lured by pride. She then opens her book to her coded escape plan. The Bloodsealer had come running to her room the other day, smelling of strong drink. She wonders if she can make him come early one day and they get extra drunk that night. She also notes that some of the guards seem revolted by the Bloodsealer, and she'd begun trying to befriend those guards. So what do you think is going on with the Bloodsealer? Why is he coming in drunk and rushing around?
Man,
I'd
has
say
a
it's
hard life. He's a
depression.
Bloodsealer. Yeah, man has a hard life.
Got a hard life? He's having a hard time? So she thinks that the Grands often think that forgers use seals for everything, when really they are generally used as a last resort. She's tempted to try making herself a new essence mark to help her escape, but knows that they would be expecting that. Plus, she wouldn't be able to do the test on herself without drawing suspicion, and the stamps wouldn't work on Gautona. And using an untested essence mark could go extremely poorly. Instead, she would need to use more traditional types of subterfuge. Day 58. Rava shows up and notes that Shai has been busy with her room. Shai had apparently improved the flooring and even made the room larger and added a hearth. Frava states that she doesn't think Shai has been taking her work seriously, but Shai replies that carving soulstone and being in a room that doesn't remind her of a closet helps her think. So what do you think about Shai's further upgrades to her room?
Making it home.
I'm telling you, if I were there, I would have been decorating the whole place as well.
Shai then explains how she has tested over 100 stamps on Gautona, which she will eventually make a linchpin soulstone with around a dozen stamps carved smaller onto the one stamp, which will connect hundreds of stamps together. Only the linchpin stamp will need to be restamped every day. The other stamps will be on a metal sheet, which will have to be made into a medallion or metal bracer that the Emperor will need to wear and keep close. Shai also explains that this hasn't been done before, and it is possible that over time he will no longer need to be stamped, as the stamps will be etched into him like papers under one that has been written on dozens of times. So what do you think about this metal sheet and all of the stamps that need to go into forging the Emperor's soul?
Well, if you take that away, then it's over, right? That's a big fucking weakness.
Yep.
But I say that's the failsafe now. Also, I was thinking right now, what if all the little things she does in her room, to change it or whatever, is part of her escape plan?
You think she's hiding things that she could easily break out of the room with?
Not only that, but also if she does it constantly, they'll start getting accustomed to things changing in that room.
Yeah, they're not going to pay enough attention.
Yeah.
They won't be suspicious of her making random soul stones and stamping random things in the room until one day she makes a new door and escapes out the side of the building.
Or even better, what if she forges herself into a door and just flies away?
How would you fly away as a door?
You just flap really fast.
Don't think that works.
You've never seen that? I've seen it done many a times.
Yeah, no, I don't
Cartoons,
think that works. So Frava then takes Shai's book of notes to look over, but Shai knows that she'll be showing it to the other forger who will determine if there is enough done for him to complete it. If there is, Shai will be executed before the other arbiters could object. Zhu would likely be the one to kill her. So do you think Shai's work is going to be taken from her at some point and completed by this other forger?
She's gonna have that thing that's
possibly, but I don't actually think that's an actual thing.
I think she's gonna have that thing where she's gonna be needed for the last bit, right? She's like, only I can do this because this and that and that, and then it's not gonna be true, but she's gonna bullshit. So, or it might be true, and she's still gonna bullshit. But
Day 59. Shai sleeps poorly that night, feeling anxious. Her notes were a bit vague, and everything alluded to how massive the project was. She has basically tried to forge Bog.
Bog?
I don't know how you want me to say this word.
Not bad. Oh my god, damn.
Everything alluded to how massive the project was. She had basically tried to forge the tone of the book, making it say, "Stay away." She wondered if the forger would see through her deception, and if she would be killed in the morning. Eventually, she gets up to go over the notes on Ashravan's life. One of the guards asks if the light is too bright, but Shai just says she has something in her head that she can't get rid of. So what did you think of Shai trying to make her notebook too daunting to another forger?
Good plan.
It sounds stupid as well, but what does daunting mean?
Like,
what is daunting?
It's like a big challenge. Like, it seems like too difficult.
Okay, so
Darkness, what grade are you in?
Second.
Oh, that makes more sense on why you don't know English.
No comprendo.
No comprende español.
What?
No comprende español.
I only speak American. Sorry. Anyway.
Sí, señor.
Sí, señor. I mean, I doubt it's gonna make much of a difference, to be honest.
No, I can't think of how it said. Me es guapo.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
As Shai pours over
your head though?
As Shai pours over the book, she thinks that she finally understands why Ashravan's optimism had changed. It had been the daily life in the palace as emperor. He had grown lazy in palace life and slowly just gone along with things, flowing like a river. However, even this was too simple. It didn't go into his temper, his fondness for debate, his eye for beauty, or his terrible poetry that he expected praise for. It also didn't speak of his arrogance or his wish to be better. He hadn't understood why he'd become as he had, which is why he kept going back to his journal. Suddenly the door opens, scaring Shai, but it was morning and the bloodsealer was here. He had a stack of papers and looked hungover. Shai wonders why he is early this morning when he...
I said up, he's hungover.
Why he's early this morning when he is late on other days. He quickly does his stamp before hurrying off. Krabba then arrives, returning Shai's notebook. Shai breathes a sigh of relief. Day 70. Our final day.
Well, it's not the final day, but sure.
The final day of this episode.
There you go.
You said our final day, not her final day.
Final day on this podcast, because fuck this podcast.
Gautona is looking over Shai's sketches.
We're striking darkness.
Questioning if one of the symbols is a time notation for 7 years ago. Shai says it is and that he learns quickly. Gautona then compares being stamped every day to being cut every day and eventually leaving a scar, although Shai says it's completely different. Shai stamps Gautona and he finds it odd to remember himself encouraging himself to become emperor, also is surprised to learn the emperor resented him for it. The stamp lasts 57 seconds, so Shai replies that is how he must have felt. She felt a thrill that the stamp had finally worked and felt that she could finally see the end of the project. Shai longed to finish the project and felt her escape could wait until then. So, do you agree with Gautona or with Shai about how if stamping so many times over these months is going to actually like affect Gautona's soul in some way?
And I do feel like it's going to affect him some way.
I think it's less of the fact that the stamping is changing like his soul more than the fact that what he's experiencing from like what he sees.
You think
like what he feels from what he sees.
Understanding of like how the emperor lived is going to like change his view on things.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to change who he is as a person, rather than the stamping itself.
What if she's forging fake memories though?
Who knows? Would those the question is would those last?
Like she's faking things to make him feel a different way, so that maybe down the road he'll be more lenient to let her go.
So she's manipulating his memories in order to show this dude.
Yep.
And then it's easier for her to escape with his help because he feels like different. It'd be crazy. Also, seems a lot like her. So.
Well, it seems a lot like the way that what they were saying before, how she's gonna manipulate the people.
Shai thinks about how each of the arbiters had come to her, offering similar promises to Frabba. Only Gautona had not tried to do this. She thinks that using Gautona will be much harder than she would have liked. Shai says that most arbiters wouldn't try to learn anything about forging, and Gaotona replies that even if they consider her powers evil or unholy, they are still using her forging to stay in power. Shai, however, says he isn't like the others, that he just wants the man he considers like a son back. So do you agree that Gaotona is a more sincere man with less nefarious intentions than the other arbiters?
I would say yes, simply because of the way he treats her. But also, I heard you say her powers are e-girls.
Evil! He calls her power evil, not e-girls.
Those e-girls, yeah.
Yeah, I see him more as Sazed. Like a more religious Sazed.
A slightly older Sazed.
Found a religion to stick with Sazed.
Yeah, he chose one. Sazed not just worships himself. He is his own religion.
Does that work? That's kind of.
He's his own god. Are you considered religious if you are the god?
I think you're considered a religion in general. So
You are the religion, but you're not religious.
Yeah. Well, it depends if you believe in yourself.
I guess that's true.
Lights on.
So Gaotona then finds it uncomfortable how easily she can read him and the guards and servants, knowing so much about their lives without ever leaving her room. Shai replies that people attempt to exercise control on the things around them. Everything around them is man-made, and they are never truly in control unless they understand people. Gaotona says that even when they're being so careful, they have underestimated her. Shai says that is good, and then stamps him and asks why he hates fish. And that is the end of our chapters. So I have a couple overview questions, such as, do you think Shai will be able to properly forge the Emperor's soul in the end?
I feel like she could, yes. I don't know.
I want her to, yes, and I also want her to do that failsafe shit, regardless of what that one chick wants, you know.
I think you were saying you don't think she actually will end up doing it, even though she could?
Yeah, I think she can. I just don't think she will.
You think she's going to have to escape first and not end up completing her mission?
Or she's just not going to do it.
Then she does the different body thing.
She's going to be like, yeah, I could have done this, but I chose not to.
Imagine she does it, but like in a different body.
Also, do you think Shai will be able to escape?
Yes.
I had a sneeze, but yeah, I think so. Momentarily.
I mean, I think Bone Daddy's going to help her.
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck is Bone Daddy?
The blood sealer.
Yeah, Bone Daddy.
So you think
his name better be like Vlad or something.
What the fuck?
No.
I'm just saying because
his name's gonna be like something stupid, like something like old fashioned.
You already know his name. Shut up.
I don't actually remember his name, or even if we get told his name.
His name is Richard.
You mean Dick?
I was gonna say.
Yep.
You know, my boss really hated that I used to shorten his name to Dick, especially since his name was Steve.
Oh my god.
What the fuck is that? That's like one letter shorter, right? I can't count.
Didn't understand the joke. It's okay, Darkness.
I got it. For once, I get the joke.
Yeah, no, because it's not about some sex or something.
I got a joke though.
Oh, is it like that simple?
It's pretty simple,
just
yeah.
Calling him by the wrong name because he's calling him a dick.
You know how usually people shorten Richard to Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the joke is that the boss's name isn't actually Richard, but they're still calling them Dick. It ruins the joke when you have to explain the joke.
Yeah, it does.
You see, this is why I make the jokes because they're simply better.
Oh yeah.
It was a pretty good joke, Dark. I think you're just having enough.
You just like it because you understood it.
Shut up. Anyways, my final question is: what are your thoughts on forgery as a magic system?
I'm gonna have to figure out how to forge these notes because like we don't need midnight no more.
Yeah, we should definitely forgery midnight. You know.
Yeah, forgery midnight.
Yeah, we don't need midnight in this podcast. We'll just put her as a. Oh, you know what? We'll forge an AI.
Wow.
To stand in the place of midnight.
Right, and then we could forge an AI for our places too.
Actually, I think we should do that instead. We'll leave her by herself. We'll forge ourselves AIs, and then
we'll never know. She will never know.
I will know.
How would she know?
I'll know.
She'll be like, "Are you guys feeling all right?" And we'll be like, "Haha, you're short."
Wow.
The AI, all the AI does is make short jokes.
Anyways, you guys haven't answered my question. What are your thoughts on forgery overall as a magic form?
It seems kind of fake.
It does seem doesn't seem to be very effective as any other magic system is, but
Want that moon scepter? Definitely a boss drop.
I mean, Hoyd definitely wanted it too, so
Makes it interesting because Hoyd wanted it, right?
I mean,
Probably an artifact from like the fucking
a
school
long
he's in
time
or some
ago.
shit.
What was in the god artifact,
Imagine Hoyt's in like a frat.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Hoyd would definitely be in a frat.
Oh, more information about Hoyd, please.
Yeah.
So I say when he puts out Dragonsteel, we just put all of the other books aside and we only read Dragonsteel.
I feel like Dragonsteel is gonna have so much fucking spoilers somehow.
Exactly. That's why I want to just read it because all I really care
Gosh.
about is Hoyd.
You do get a lot more Hoyd in Stormlight Archive.
All I care about is Hoyd. I don't give a shit about the rest of the people. Just give me Hoyd backstory, please.
There'll
Why
be
is
some
metal such a big part in this whole fucking universe?
I don't know, why is it so important?
The fucking like.
Darkness, we won't
Mm.
find out for 6-7 years, okay?
What was that? Adonasium or whatever it is called.
Adonalsium, yeah.
But that's just that's adamantium. But no.
Did we ever find out what I forget? So did we ever find out what Preservation's metal was called?
I told you what it's called. It's called Lerasium. Lerasium.
Lerasium. Yeah, but where did you find that out though?
Second gen?
I'm trying to remember if you find it out in Secret History or if you find it out in Era 2.
I think it's Era 2.
It's definitely
what I
in
remember.
Era 2, but it might
From what
be
you remember.
also in Mistborn's Secret History. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I decided to get the audiobook, and it kind of skipped over this book and went to that book and skipped over
sure.
Stormlight too. So
I'm sure. Anyway, so for next episode, we'll be finishing off Emperor's Soul, and we'll also be reading all of The Hope of Elantris, because it's pretty short. So after next episode, we will no longer be in the Cellar system. We will be moving on to the Scadrial system, or the Scadrian system.
I was just thinking, I wonder what would happen if you write from the Elantris, the Elantris magic. You know, the fucking writing the what are they called? Seance? Seance?
Aeons. Seance are the light balls.
Floating things, yeah. If you write an Aeon or whatever, using the stamp, like mixing like, geographical figures, I guess you could say.
I'm not sure if it would work or not, because like they're slightly different but also slightly similar based on the landscape. I'm assuming there'd be like a one-to-one translation between an Aeon to different symbols written onto the soul stamps.
Wouldn't it just be a different placement? Like, let's say you draw the Elantris shit, right? Like the actual city, like the symbol or whatever, and then you have the placement of the. What if you just map the whole world with the symbols?
Anyways, I don't know what would happen if you would. I wonder if you somehow mapped the whole world and then started drawing stuff around it. If you could use like every magic system on the planet.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Yeah, it's a cartography religion.
And if that's how that works, I wonder how the fucking bone magic shit or whatever they used worked.
Wasn't the bone thing also in Elantris though?
That's what I'm saying.
No, so the bone magic is from a neighboring country to Elantris. It's very similar, but
no, I meant like the book.
No, like the world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's that same. It's the same thing that those other people use in Elantris.
Yeah, everyone here uses the door. The Lantrians, the people
who but what I'm saying is
the people who dance,
the making
soul
of
stamps.
bone pets and the bone people that fought.
Yes, they're on the same planet.
But are they the same magic?
They're slightly
not the
different.
Same magic.
They're from different parts of the same planet.
They're the same magic, but I'm assuming it's made in a different way, which is like
it's
exactly how this one is the same magic, but it's in a different form.
It all accesses the same magic, but it's accessed in different ways.
That's exactly what I'm wondering. Like, I'm wondering how like they make that exactly, like the bone one. Because if it's all geographical, what does geography have to do with that?
So basically, I believe how it works is
do we get in like any information on that?
They did in this slightly in the solar system thing is they basically just say that like the Aeons and all and like the soul stamps and everything they use, basically how it works is it basically creates a slight tear between the physical realm and the cognitive realm to draw the magic out of the cognitive realm into the physical realm to change things.
Yes, but we get the stamps, and then just we get the Aeons.
Yeah, it's just different ways. It's just different ways to access the magic in the cognitive realm. The Blood Sealers also use stamps. but they just use blood.
Oh,
And
they
bone.
use stamps.
Yeah, he stamped. He
No,
made a
yeah, no,
stamp.
but like the bones are they?
They stamped them.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, he stamps the bones.
He makes stamps.
so like, what are the bones like? Literally blood sealers too?
I think they're just bones of random dead people that he stamps into becoming his pets.
Interesting.
Necromancer. This fucking necromancer.
Whereas I believe the Shudreth people, they carve like aeons into their bones to change them.
Which seems very similar in all honesty, but you know.
Which is cool.
Yeah, again, it's just different ways.
And
to
also the
access
dancing
magic
thing.
Yeah,
the dancing thing is basically the same as the aeons. They're basically while dancing, drawing out.
That's what I was hoping for. That shit sounds so cool.
Yeah, they dance out. So he does also like circular hand movements while he's dancing. That's how they create it. So like not
That's
only
some Disney princess shit.
because like the reason that they don't recognize it as the same magic is because it uses slightly different lettering systems, because again it's based on the region, so it also uses the native language of that region, which is why they all look slightly different when written out.
So if you learn the native language of each region, would you be able to use their magic too?
Well, the thing is, though, it also seems like it's partially related to where you were born, because the only people born near Elantris can become Elantrians, remember? So it might be about where you're born as well. So if you're born in Erelon, you can become an Elantrian.
So
if
it's
you're born
where
in
you're
Mypon,
born and not like genetic wise?
Yeah, it seems to be where you're born over like...
It makes sense in a geographical based like magic world.
Yeah. Like,
If you're
Alamancy
born
is
in-
more genetics than...
The door.
That's what it's called, the door.
I fucking hate that
It's
name.
D-O-R, it's not
Yeah,
double O.
yeah. You have to hold.
The door flies away, bro.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you have to
God.
hold door.
It's not coming back. She turns
anyways.
into the door.
Anyways, like I was saying, we're going to be finishing off the stuff in the Celish system next week. We'll be finishing off Emperor's Soul, as well as reading the short story Hope of Elantris. And then after that, we'll be starting the Scadrian system. So we'll be doing, the week after, we'll be doing 11th Metal and starting Secret History, which Secret History is the one I think Mythic's going to enjoy the most.
Yeah, because it's gonna have the Lord Ruler and Kelsier in it. Yep.
And I'll also...
Do you want to make a? Do we want to make a bet?
but also...
Don't bet on me. I've never been wrong.
I'll also be live reading you the Scadrian system little essay thing.
Live reading.
Yeah,
Woo!
I'll live read the
Midnight live read.
I'm gonna live read all of the little system overviews and
Wait,
provide
you're gonna
you...
live read all of the rest of this? Awesome.
No, not the rest of the book.
Sitting
Just
here
the
waiting.
system
I'm
overviews.
sitting here waiting. Let's go.
No.
Live read it.
Anyways, thank you guys all so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.